Homesickness is real. I have found 10 ways that I will share with you that have helped me make anywhere feel like home, because a home and that feeling is an alchemy. It's a little bit of magic. It's a very sensory experience. So let's get started with the first one, which is the easiest one: scent. So much of our mood and even our memories are dictated and triggered by scents. So the first thing I will do when I get to a new location is go and do two things. I will buy candles and stockpile them if it's a scent that I really love, because I love having a candle burning and it's an easy way to fill my space with a scent that I love and I'm familiar with. The second thing, I'm going to buy a cleaning product in a nice lemony scent, because I grew up with a Nana that used lemon scented Pine Sol, commercial grade by the strength of it, but I love that scent. And I immediately, if I come into a new space and I clean it and everything is lemony fresh, it really does make me feel like I'm claiming the space and making it my own. The great thing about lemon scent is also it's available pretty much anywhere globally. It's a very commonly favored cleaning product scent. But I know another one I have come to find and love is also lavender. The soundtrack. Anywhere you go nowadays, there's usually a smart TV so that you can play what you want on the screen if it's a hotel or an Airbnb. But I have found there's nothing like having really great sound quality to fill a space and to make it feel like your own, because there's nothing like a playlist that you love. So having a portable Bluetooth speaker that gives you great sound quality is a way to make those concerts feel your home in a way that I used to love doing in the car when I would commute for work. So actually, I bought the same speaker that my husband bought because I had a bit of FOMO. This guy right here, and it's an absolutely wonderful speaker. It maintains a charge really well. It looks great in any environment I sit it in because it's sleek. And this is something I do to start my day. So I usually will pick a playlist depending on my mood, and that sets the tone for the day. And if it's a place I am inhabiting for the first time, it really helps, again, fill the space with things that are familiar to me. Ambiance. Lighting is everything. There is a big hurdle you face, or at least I know I face, when I move into a new space, and you don't really know like how the light is gonna play across the room. You don't know what places will be dark, what places will get really good sunlight. And so it takes time in a space to realize how that all is going to work. So when I first get into a space, I try to take the time over a couple days and just see what areas of the home have dark spots and what places get really good light. That way I can figure out, where do I need ambient light when it's dark? I found a great way to fill these places with ambient light is fairy lights or LED lights. I have an LED light behind me that fluctuates through different lighting patterns and different colors, and it's just nice when the lights are off at night and you have a little bit of glow. The second way is going to be fairy lights. They dominated the 2010s and they are just easy, cheap, and practical. Fairy lights also, if you take a little time and be creative, you can find ways to put them on your wall and give yourself basically a little glowing sign of whatever makes you happy. At this home, I've wrapped them around bamboo stakes. I have wrapped them around clear spherical balls, and then hung them off the side of my cabinet. But in this house, I wanted to be a bit more ambitious and put them on my wall in something like a single line drawing. So I tried a couple things. First, I tried to do it with a mountain line and a bit of a single line drawing of a woman's face. It didn't quite turn out how I anticipated, so I then just thought, do clean mountain lines and that'll be nice. But then it's giving me dorm room, so I thought I'll try something else in a different shape that's more personal to myself and the life I have. So I'm thinking an eye. I'm much happier with this. I wanted a single line drawing that was gonna be something more personal and more artistic that I could look at and not only feel like it's ambient light, but that's a bit of art. The global go-to breakfast. I have stayed a bunch of places, even for as far as Thailand for a period of time. And having a breakfast that is familiar is something that is going to establish a certain amount of comfort. Now, when I'm traveling for vacation, there is something nice about trying new foods and being a bit adventurous. But if I'm staying somewhere like I'm staying in Nairobi now for an extended period of time, there is a lot of comfort to be gained from having your day start with a meal that you're not only familiar with, but that you actually enjoy. So for us, it's gonna be X. This also works twofold because if I'm gonna cook breakfast in the place that I'm staying, it provides an immediate amount of confidence and gratification, not only in having a food and meal that's familiar, but in going into a kitchen that is unfamiliar. And many a time, the first time I cook in an unfamiliar kitchen, you're figuring out where everything is, how that particular stove works, how you're gonna move in the dynamic of the kitchen. But making something that I have made hundreds of thousands of times before in a space that I'm not familiar with is going to provide a lot of familiarity and a lot of that feeling of like, this is my space. So I'm someone that definitely needs my coffee in the morning, but what makes it even sweeter is having a dedicated vessel in the morning. I've learned from staying in many Airbnbs that a habit I consistently maintain is going to the kitchen and picking out a mug that I'm going to use for the length of the stay. Now, I have one mug that I actually will take and carry with me because it works as a great anchor point. It's going to be my cute little red mug. I use this for coffee, tea, anything that I'm drinking that's basically warm. And then I have a thermos that I use for water. Now, I love this thermos in particular because it has a bit of a tactile pattern and it just scratches a certain itch that my brain needs to feel the rises and ridges and bumps on it. This is something that any home I go to, I know these vessels I'm going to interact with every day. And I definitely got good advice from someone once of basically you want to give the most attention and care to the things you touch the most throughout the day. And water bottle and what I'm going to drink first thing in the morning is definitely something. It helps a lot having something that makes me smile to start my day with. The lungs of the house. What kind of plant lady would I be if I didn't include houseplants? Now, even if houseplants are not particularly your thing, I still love to have a houseplant in a space because it's going to provide oxygen and a bit of humidity. There is nothing worse than staying somewhere dry and a bit lifeless when you're trying to make it a home. I will say I have come a long way from the indoor garden that I was trying to cultivate. One of the wonderful things about Nairobi is that because this climate is tropical, house plants, outdoor garden plants, there are plants that I have acquired here that I never would have acquired in the United States because either the cost was excessively high or living in Philadelphia, the climate just didn't allow for me to, let's say, grow the monstera of my dreams on the patio. So when we moved, it did give me a lot of peace selling all of my houseplant collection for the most part, knowing that I could come here and I'd be able to buy full, mature plants that I could sit into corners of our living spaces that would immediately fill it, would look beautiful, and would provide a very practical amount of making the space feel more lived in, because the difference in a room with a couple big houseplants pumping out that oxygen and when there's not, big difference. Even when we stayed in Erie for about a month, because my husband was getting surgery on his eyes so that he can see now, but that's a story for another time. Nonetheless, if I couldn't buy houseplants, I will try to put fresh flowers in the vase on the table so that we have something there when we eat dinner. Just adding a little bit of life, a little bit of freshness to the surroundings always makes me feel a bit more like home. Tried and true toiletries. Now, when I go on vacation and I stay in a hotel, it's part of the experience to stay somewhere and you use those tiny little bottles of shampoo and conditioner and little beautiful hand soaps. But when I'm staying somewhere for a more extended period of time, I want to have the products that I know work for me, and I want to be able to take a shower and wash my hair without worrying about, is this soap going to make me break out? Is the shampoo going to make my hair dry? So having enough to last me for at least a month if I'm going to be living in a new place gives me a lot of peace of mind, because it gives me the ability to go and search what is locally available while at the same time being able to maintain whatever routines and regimens I have that I know work for me and not being stressed. There's nothing like having to buy conditioner when you don't have any more conditioner. Then you feel forced to, I know I do. Then you suddenly feel forced to buy something you maybe don't really want to buy. What actually is available locally? If it's not, so in Nairobi, I've realized certain hair products, skin products are not easily attainable because either the price in Nairobi is much higher because they're imported, or it's simply easier when I am stateside and home to get a couple extra bottles of maybe my favorite hair oil or favorite conditioner and bring them back so that I can find balance between having things that make me feel grounded and having the option to go out and explore and find new products. Books. I am a bookworm through and through. It is a really frictionless form of escapism for me. So, because I couldn't bring my entire library when we decided to spend more time in Kenya, I went through my collection and I looked for books that were particularly meaningful to me, that were aesthetically pleasing and that I would love to have sitting around my living space, but most importantly, that were small. I wanted to have books that I could have and maybe sit in my bathroom so that instead of waking up and starting my day with scrolling, I could flip through an art book I got at the Louvre or a bonsai book that I got a long time ago, but it's one that I still just love to flip through and see the different trees and see all the different types of pots. It gives me a routine that I'm very familiar with, but it's something very small and compact, easy to take with me wherever I go, and it's something that can continually grow as I visit new places. I have loved to collect art, whether that is sculptures or canvas paintings. And even now I've started to take puzzles because I love a puzzle. And if it's a picture that I genuinely enjoy, I try to search out those type of puzzles so that when it's done, I can put adhesive on the back of the puzzle and I can hang it up as a new piece of art. I now try to make sure that this art is also a bit more travel friendly. So the art that's hanging behind us, this was actually the first piece of art that I got when my husband and I started living together. And it's a canvas that does have a frame, but when it's out of the frame, it's very easy to take it out and it rolls up and it's easy to put into a suitcase. The puzzles, because they're flat and sealed with adhesive, is easy for me to pack into a suitcase. And I also try to make sure that any pictures that are especially sentimental to me, I have in frames that don't have glass within the frame, so that if I want to take the frame itself, it's easy to take with me, or I have make sure the picture itself is just maintained well. I saw something once, basically if the apocalypse came, one person is going to be getting all the travel gear, all the emergency equipment, making sure we have all the supplies. And then there's usually a partner going around grabbing all the photo albums and pictures and the art from the refrigerator. And both things are needed. You need to be practical a lot of the time, but I know it also makes me feel so much more stable and a lot more comfortable in the space to be able to look around it and see it filled with memories of my life. And last, for me, the object that I've found consistently is gonna be Funko Pops. This one has sat in the kitchen everywhere that we have lived since I've been with my husband in the last 7 years. And this Funko Pop in particular holds a lot more sentimental value for us now because about 4 months ago, my husband had surgery because he's blind to have his vision basically restored. And I bought him this little Aang Funko Pop as a gift because I figured he can't see it now, but when he can, how great will that be for him to look at something that he's kind of seen as just a blob and then eventually be able to see the detail of it. And sure enough, maybe in the last month or so, it's sitting on our coffee table and he looked and actually saw it. So things like this, wherever we go, having them sit there, they act as an anchor point in the same way I would think in the movie Inception. It's something of this reality that has a lot of sentiment tied to it. And having it always in the space that I'm inhabiting makes it immediately feel more like home. Creating a home and doing it in multiple times in multiple places, it does take a lot of intentional effort, but it makes traveling and finding new places and exploring new places a lot more comfortable and a lot more feasible for the peace of mind. I am very interested in finding more ambient lighting solutions because as much as I love the fairy lights and the ambient lights, I would love to have a lamp that is small enough to be travel friendly, but provides enough ambient light to be practical and still beautiful and aesthetically pleasing in any space that I put it in. So if you have anything like that, please let me know. But until next time, bye. Goober. Goober. There's my handsome boy. Yeah. I love you.